Good morning, good afternoon, at magandang araw sa ating mga future criminologists. Okay? So the topic that will be discussed in this video presentation is about traffic management and accident investigation. No? It is one of the subject or professional course yan, under Crime Detection and Investigation Division. So bali dalawa yung major topic nating pag-uusapan. We have traffic management, no? How to manage traffic, and the second part will be accident investigation. However, before we will proceed, I just want to share to you the excerpt coming from Henry Ford, no? Which is very important, especially in your preparation for your board examination, no? So, ano yung sabi ni Henry Ford? Whether you think you can or you think you can, you are right. Yan. So kung iniisip mo na kayang-kaya mong mag-top sa board exam, sasabayan mo lang ng aksyon, sigurado ay magta-top ka sa board examination, no? So kung sa utak mo ay alam mo na, no, na desidido ka talaga para mag-top, ay magta-top ka, no? So kailangan ng determinasyon para mag-top. Dapat isipin mo 'yan at saka yung dedikasyon mo. Yan. And put it to work, no? So kailangan ay kailangan ng aksyon, di ba? So based on the latest table of specification, no? So ito po yung mga topics na under in traffic management and accident investigation with driving na ating pag-uusapan sa video presentation na ito, no? Yung first part is about the principles, no, of the components of traffic management, yung pong five pillars of traffic, and to include the agencies involved, no. And the second part is the purpose and functions of registration and renewal para sa mga motor vehicles, okay. So yung pag-i-issue ng license plate, ganun na rin yung pag-issue or issuance ng driver's license kasama na ang renewal. To include the various traffic signs, traffic light, pavement or road marking, or in short, ang tawag natin sa mga yan ay traffic control devices. Then the third topic is about the principles of driving, principles of right of way, and the rules governing parking. No? Then the fourth topic is about the traffic violation under the following laws. We have Anti-Drunk Driving Act, no? That is Republic Act number 10586, Republic Act number 10913 or yung ADA law or yung Anti-Distracted Driving Act. And we have Republic Act number 10666 at kasama na po dyan yung RA number 11229 or yung pong child restraint system, no? Then the fifth part is about the principles and procedures involving traffic accident investigation, classification of accident, the principle of key events, no? Different types of tire marks tulad po ng gap skid, yan, skip mark, ano ba yung pagkakaiba nun at saan madalas makita yung mga yan. We also discussed the last clear chance principle and of course the state of necessity. So all in all, ang questions po na kukunin mula sa traffic management and accident investigation with driving ay 15 questions. All right? So bali ilan sa understanding? We have 6 questions. Dun sa applying is we have 7 and the evaluating ay 2 questions. All right? What is traffic muna? Now, since our subject is traffic management and accident investigation. Traffic, ladies and gentlemen, refers to the movement of persons, goods, or vehicles either powered by combustion system or by the fire. Sabi nga natin, no? Or animal drone from one place to another. So ito po ay movement. So ibig sabihin, pwedeng i-describe ito na slow moving, pwede ring moderate, pwede ring fast. Kasi nga tumutukoy ito sa movement from one place to another. Either the movement is fast, slow, or moderate, no? It was derived from Middle French traffic, from the Italian traffico, from Italian trafficare, which means to carry on trade, potentially from vulgar, Latin transfer, which means to rub across. Kasi ang unang ginamit kasi na instrument para mag-transport ng mas maraming goods ay yung tinatawag na travois, no? Yan yung dalawang stick na nilalagyan po ng lagayan ng mga goods tapos hihilain po ng tao. So yan yung tinatawag natin na travois. So literal na kumakaskas po talaga, no? Yan. So travois or travois ang spelling. From that, transfer naging traffic, tsaka po naging traffic na wala ng letter K, which now pertains to the movement. No? So ano naman po yung transportation? Transportation is the conveyance. Ito yung pagdadala from point A to point B. No? So sinong dinadala from one place to another? It could be either person and goods from one location to another. So kung dadalhin ka mula sa point A papunta sa point B, ang tawag po natin dyan ay transportation. Yung galaw mo naman, either mabilis o mabagal, it is called traffic, mga kaibigan. So what are the different types of transportation? No? So ano nga ba yung iba't ibang klase ng transportation po natin? We have air transportation. We have water transportation or marine transportation. We have also land transportation. No? Sa mga registration ng mga sasakyang panghimpapawid that is under the MIA or Manila International Airport Authority, ayan. Samantala, yung pong pag-maintain ng safety ng mga manlalakbay gamit ang air transportation, yan po ay under po ng tinatawag po natin na Airport Police Force under DOTR, Airport Police Force. Sa water transportation, andyan po yung registration ng mga sasakyang panlupa is under ng Marina or yung Marine Industry Authority. Okay? Pero yung pag-ensure ng safety ng mga manlalakbay gamit ang sasakyang pandagat, andyan po yung ating mga Philippine Coast Guard, mga kaibigan, or PCG. Alright? Sa land transportation naman, syempre mga sasakyang panlupa, ang registered office, okay, LTO, sila po yung nag-i-inspect ng mga sasakyang panlupa para i-ensure yung safety ng mga manlalakbay gamit ang mga transportation, gamit ang mga panlupang transportasyon. No? So LTO po siya, mga kaibigan, sa registration. Pagdating sa traffic management naman sa panlupa, andyan po yung mga local government units. Okay? So ibig sabihin, ang namamahala po sa traffic management, saan ang dapat tamang sakayan, saan yung hindi pwedeng mag-park, ang nagdi-decide dyan ay local government unit. Kaya po yung mga nanghuhuli ng illegal parking, ganyan, ay LGU po yan. So, syempre, under ng LGU yung ating mga MMDAs yan, sa Metropolitan Manila. Andyan din po yung ating mga municipal tanods. Ayan. Andyan din syempre yung members ng ating Philippine National Police assigned to the specific local government unit, no? And syempre, para dagdagan yung pong ating mga klase ng transportation, andyan din naman yung ating pipeline transport, okay? Ang pipeline transport ay ginagamit lang sa transportation of goods, syempre through pipe, yung mga gasolina, o kaya naman yung mga gas or liquid, okay, tulad ng tubig, no? So hindi naman na binubuhat. Meron naman yung by tire, by capsules, yung mga water delivery, pero karamihan pipeline transport na, no? So may hose, sasabi natin, no? Then we have also cable transport. Dito sa Pilipinas, ginagamit yan sa mga matataas na building. Ang tawag po natin ay elevator. So ano bang ginagamit for transportation? Kable, di ba? So it is a broad mode where vehicles are pulled by cables instead of an internal source. It is commonly used at steep gradient or yung pong vertical transportation. Typical solution include aerial tramway, elevators, escalators, and skylift. Some of these are also categorized as conveyor transport. No? We have elevator. Sa amin dito sa Benguet, syempre yung tram line na ginagamit pang transport ng sayote mula sa area kung saan ito tinanim papunta doon po sa roadway, mga kaibigan, no? So cable transport ang tawag natin diyan. We have now the so-called space transport. It is the type of transport out of the Earth's atmosphere into the outer space. While large amount of research have gone into technology. So yan po no, yan po ay syempre under experiment pa lamang at yan ay hindi pa po inaalaw yung mga madlang people, no? Katulad ko. All right? So outside the earth transportation yan, space transport. We have also the unmanned aerial vehicle transport or drone transport. It is currently being tested by some big companies tulad po ng Tesla at kasama na po dyan yung Amazon. All right? So those are the different types of transportation, mga kaibigan. Okay? So ano ang difference ng traffic accident sa transport accident? Okay, so transport accident refers to any accident involving a device primarily used for conveyance. So kapag may bumagsak na eroplano, hindi po natin pwedeng sabihin na yun po ay traffic accident, no? Pero ang term na ginagamit ay transport accident syempre, no? So ano ba ang klase ng search na gagamitin pag bumagsak ang eroplano, di ba? So yan po pwede pong gamitin yung grid method or double strip kasi nga scattered ang evidence. Alright? So ganon. So sino naman ang nag-iimbestiga dyan? Siyempre yung pong Manila International Airport Authority kasama na po yung Department of Transportation. No? Okay, so yan po yung transport accident. Pagkasasakyang pantubig naman, sino ba yung mga investigators doon? Yung mga galing sa Philippine Coast Guard. So ano naman po ang traffic accident? It refers to any accident involving travel or transportation on a traffic way or yung tinatawag po natin na highway, di ba? So kung ang aksidente ay nanggaling or nangyari sa land transport at nangyari yan sa traffic way, ang tawag sa aksidente ay traffic accident. So that is a difference between transport accident and traffic accident. Traffic accident is more specific pertaining to accident happen in a traffic way or sa kalsada. All right. Now let's proceed to some of the previous board question. No. First question for the subject, which field sobriety test is also known as eye test o tinatawag din siyang eye grazing, no? The letter A, one leg stand. Letter B, field sobriety test. Charlie, walk and turn test. And Delta is horizontal gaze nystagmus. This question was taken from Republic Act number 10586, RA 10586 or yung Anti-Drunk and Drug Driving Act, mga kaibigan. At meron pong tatlong test doon. Meron tayong one leg stand, walk and turn test, at saka yung eye test or yung tinatawag na horizontal gaze nystagmus or tinatawag siyang eye grazing. No? Eye grazing ang isang tawag. So horizontal gaze nystagmus is an involuntary jerking of the eye as it moves to the side. The subject is asked to follow an object with his or her eye as far as the side as the eye can go. The higher a person's blood alcohol concentration, the less the eye has to move toward the side. Kaya kung itatry ninyo, no, yung 1 feet, yung inyong daliri or yung isang object, lalagay nyo sa harap nyo tapos susundan ng mata ninyo pag di kayo nakainom hanggang sa side yan. So ibig sabihin, yung observation mo pag nagdadrive ka ay nasa maximum level. So balit kapag ikaw ay naka 10% na ng alcohol sa iyong dugo o yung blood alcohol concentration level mo 10% ay hindi na po kaya ng mata mo na napapuntahin doon sa 45%, nagkakaroon na po ng involuntary jerking. So kung makikita natin yung observation limited na lamang sa may harapan mo, no? So ganun po yung dahilan kung bakit kapag ikaw na ay nakainom, no, at ikaw ay lumagpas doon sa blood alcohol concentration level, that is already in violation of RA 10586, no? Ganon. So yan po yung horizontal gaze ni Stagmus mga kaibigan. Kung nakikita po ninyo, pinapasundan po yung pen doon sa may driver na hinihinala pong nakainom. So, ang tawag sa test na kinakandak sa field ng isang police officer kapag pinara ng isang police officer or isang LTO officer, yun pong driver na hinihinala po na nakainom or lasing, no? Ay magkakandak ng field sobriety test. Okay, it is a test conducted at the field by law enforcer after you flag down a motor vehicle. Tanong, pwede mo bang pilitin ng isang driver to undergo field sobriety test? The answer is yes, no? Considering that driving in the Philippines is not a matter of right, it is a matter of privilege. So ano po yung mga test na ikakandak? We have the eye test, no, or eye grazing. So pakitandaan po, eye test or eye grazing or horizontal gaze ni Stagmus. In this test, you must follow with your eyes an object that officer moves horizontally a foot away from your face. Yan. So yun nga sabi natin, kapag naka 10%, hindi mo na kaya na sundan yung bagay na ipapakita sa iyo a foot away in front of you, no? We have also the walk and turn. You must walk 9 steps forward. Ayan, 9 steps para. Then straight line po dapat. At halata naman kapag ka po nakainom yan, magbe-bend konti, ano? Then walk back same distance then. O kapag kayang-kaya naman, so proceed to the next test. We have one leg stand, no? So you must able to stand on one leg, raise it, and the other or raise the other at least 6 inches. Tapos dapat ay kaya mong tagalan yon within 30 seconds. Sir, obligado ba yung tatlo na ipagawa sa driver pagka siya po ay hinihinalang nakainom? The answer is yes, no? So kapag ka bumagsak siya sa isa, then tsaka po magpo-proceed sa tinatawag na ABA test or yung alcohol breath analyzer test para makita yung specific blood alcohol concentration level. All right? So yun po mga kaibigan, yung pong field sobriety test. No? In the previous board question, ito lang po yung isa sa question na tinanong. No? So, traffic enforcer stopped a vehicle with a driver suspected to be intoxicated with alcohol. He conducted eye grazing or yan yung horizontal gaze ni Stagmus, walk and turn, and what? So, ano yung pangatlo? Siyempre, yung sagot dyan ay one leg stand kasi wala namang test na one leg lang, di ba? Wala din naman bottom up, two-man stand. We have one leg stand. So tatandaan po natin mga kaibigan, yung field sobriety test provided under Republic Act number 10586. Kasi yan ay ia-apply nyo yan pagka kayo po ay naging police and you are considered as deputized by the or you will be deputized by the Land Transportation Office to enforce the law, no? So dapat alam nyo yung field sobriety test. Next question. Which is defined as the movement of passenger or freight within same mode of transport? Letter A, traffic. Letter B, transportation. Letter C, intermodal transportation. And delta is transmodal transportation. Okay, so ang sagot po dito mga kaibigan ay transmodal transportation, no? Kapag baylan, kunwari sumakay ka ng tricycle, pagbaba mo sumakay ka ng jeep, pagbaba mo ng jeep sumakay ka ng bus, pagbaba mo ng bus sumakay ka ng jeep, transmodal po 'yon, no? All right, so traffic, sabi natin kanina, it pertains to the movement from one place to another, no? So it could be movement of person, pwedeng movement of goods, vehicles, either powered by combustion, sunog, inintroduce ni Etienne Lenoir. Ayan, yung tinatawag natin na ICE or Internal Combustion System. So ibig sabihin, literal may nasusunog sa loob ng makina. Kaya nga tinawag na internal combustion, no? Then transportation pertains to the conveyance, no, pagdadala ng goods mula sa isang lugar or mula sa point A patungo sa point B. Intermodal transportation refers to the movement of passengers or freight from one mode of transport to another, no? So like for example po, ikaw ay sumakay ng bus o kaya naman ay sa truck, pagkatapos isinakay po yung sakay ng truck doon po sa barko, o pagbaba po ay nilift ng eroplano, so that is considered as intermodal transportation mga kaibigan, no? O kaya yung containerized transport, di ba yung mga dinalaman ng container van, yung mga goods ilalagay na doon sa may mismong loob ng container van, tapos isasakay sa truck, pagbaba ilalagay na sa barko 'yon, no? And after which ay itatransport patungo dito sa ating bansa or patungo sa ibang lugar or ibang bansa, pagbaba ng barko din kukunin ulit ng trailer, tsaka po lalagyan ulit ng laman, tapos ibabalik kung saan po ito galing. So that is intermodal transportation kasi hindi lang siya by land, no? By land, by sea, by air, ganon. So, pwedeng combination ng dalawa lang na klase ng transportation. Hindi naman obligado na tatlo na kailangan na mag by land tapos mag by air, no? At saka mag by water. So, kapag ka by land tapos by water, considered na yon as intermodal transportation. Next question. Sa registration naman po ito. Ito ay tutumbok doon po sa ating second part ng ating table of specification. Ano? If the plate number of the motor vehicle of Mr. Cardo Dalisa is ABD 153, then he must update the registration every. Kasi yung sasakyan, once na nairehistro na yan sa LTO, nakarehistro naman na yan no? Pero kailangan po kasi na mag-update ng registration at magbayad po ng tax considering na ang mga sasakyan gumagamit ng kalsada syempre at saka ito ay nakakapagbigay ng polusyon sa ating environment. So kailangan po na ma-update ang registration para siguraduhin na nagbibigay ng contribution no para sa pagsasaayos ng ating environment since nakakapagdulot siya ng pollution at dahil nagbubuga yan ng carbon monoxide, di ba? So, kailangan i-update yung registration. Ngayon, ang basis ng update of registration ay yung pong plaka or yung license plate. So, kung ang license plate ay IBD 153, so kailan po ang update ng registration? Second week of March, second week of April, second week of May, and second week of February. So, alam naman natin ano, yung last digit no, ay yung basis for the month of registration at yung pong second to the last digit or yung dati middle digit kasi no yan po yung basis naman for identifying the week of registration. Okay? So ang registration po niyan or yung update ng registration must be every second week of March, no? Second week of March. Paano po nangyari 'yon, no? So the last digit may ladies for gentlemen or mga ating future criminologists, the last digit of the plate number or license plate is the basis for identifying the month of registration. Kapag yung last digit ay 1, syempre i-rehistro yan kada January, pag 2 February, 3 ay March, 4 April, 5 May, 6 June, 7 July, 8 August, 9 September, and 0 October. Alright? Tapos syempre pag November, December, madalas checkpoint yan para mapilitan yung mga hindi nag-register na i-update ang kanilang registration. Ayan. Yung middle digit no sa mga 2013 series. Kasi yung 2013 series mo kasi mga kaibigan, 3 alpha pala yon at saka 3 numeric. 3 alpha, 3 numbers or 3 numeric. Pero doon sa 2014 series pataas, ayan, so 3 alpha yon at saka 4 numeric. Ang basis naman ng week of registration, yung second to the last digit, yung pangalawa sa huli pa rin. Alright? So, for example, kung yung middle digit ay 1, 2, 3, no, syempre, first week ang registration yan. Kapag 4, 5, 6, second week, 7, 8, third week, and 9 and 0, fourth week, mga kaibigan. Alright? So, another exercise, no? Kapag yung plaka ay CHH 360, kailan ito i-register? So, ito syempre 2013 series ito kasi tatlong alpha, tatlong numeric. So 0 ang dulo or yung last digit, so that is October, and 6 yung kanyang middle or yung second to the last digit, that is of course second week. So it must be updated every second week of October. So ganun lang naman mga future criminologists. All right, next question. What is the classification of vehicles issued to foreign diplomats and consuls assigned to the Philippines? What is the classification of vehicles assigned to or issued to the foreign diplomats and consuls, no? So private diplomat, public utility, or government vehicle. So yung mga naka-assign sa mga consuls, ayan po yung diplomat vehicle, no? Sa mga types of registered motor vehicles dito sa Pilipinas, generally, meron po tayong apat, ano? Private, diplomat, public utility, government. No? Meron ding special like yung accredited ng Department of Tourism, no? Yan. So classification of registered motor vehicles, we have private motor vehicles or yung mga not for hire. These are motor vehicles used for personal use by the owners. Hindi pwedeng pampasada, syempre. Ang plate number nito based on the 2013 series ay green with white background. Pero ngayon ay yan po ay ginagawa or inaangkor na doon sa bago, syempre, black on white background. Pero makikita nyo na yan ay 2013 series or yung mga model 2013, 2012 pababa. Yan po ay 3 alpha, no? At saka po 3 numerics. Tatlo-tatlo lang po yan. Tatlong letters, tatlong numbers. Okay? So kahit na black, pero may green pa rin ha, no? May green pa rin niya. Yan 2014 series, that is black markings on white background. Tapos ang 2014 series na po ay 3 alpha and of course 4 numerics. Yan. Then we have public utility vehicles. These are motor vehicles for hire. These are registered primarily for conveyance or pampasada para humakot ng pasahero or other commercial goods tulad ng taxi cabs, passenger jeepneys, passenger tricycle. And a plate number, color of plate number is black with yellow background or black characters on yellow background, no? Sa government man naman, these are motor vehicles owned by government offices and are used for official purpose only, no, by the government agencies. So plate number is red or maroon with white background, no? And nag-uumpisa ito sa letter S. Yan. So government. Diplomat, these are issued to foreign diplomat and consuls assigned sa Pilipinas. The color is blue, characters on white background. The new diplomatic license plate contains 7 numeric characters that are in blue with white background, mga kaibigan, no? So yan po yung foreign diplomat. Meron din po yung tinatawag natin na Department of Tourism, ano? Department of Tourism accredited vehicle. Paki-take note nyo po. Department of Tourism accredited vehicle. Ito po yung madalas yung makita sa airport. Ang kulay po niyan ay green, no? Green markings. Okay, green din yung characters, no? Green markings, tapos white background. Pero ang kaibahan nito, meron siyang yellow highlights. Yan. So madalas nakita nyo yung mga taxi sa airport na hindi kulay puti ha, no? Yun po yung mga Department of Tourism accredited vehicle. May yellow highlights yung green characters. Yan. Alright, so yan po mga future criminologists. So yan po yung private or example ng private for not for hire 2013 series pababa. Ito naman po yung bago, yung 2014 series. Okay? So yan. Then we have for public utility vehicles, black characters on yellow background. Government is we have red characters on white background and diplomat blue characters on white background. Dati 5 digits, ngayon ay 7 digits. All right. Next question. Motorcycle registration plates released since 2020 feature the color-coded strips to indicate the region where they are registered dahil nga sa pagdami ng mga motorsiklo para hindi po magparehas yung pong alphanumeric ay nagdagdag din ng additional na pagkakakilanlan ang mga plaka ng mga motorsiklo at doon nga na-introduce noong 2020 yung color-coded strips to indicate the region where the motorcycle is registered. In addition to the registration area prefixes, no? So what is the color and location of strips of license plate of motorcycles registered in Cordillera Administrative Region or CAR? Letter A, pink on top. Letter B, green green on top. Letter C, pink at the bottom, or delta, green at the bottom. So the answer for this question, ladies and gentlemen, is pink on top. No, pink on top. So ito po yung mga strips ng colors at saka yung position. Pag nakarehistro sa NCR or National Capital Regional, mga kaibigan, or National Capital Region, ay walang strip, no? Pagka naman po pink on top, alam mo na nakarehistro yan sa Cordillera Administrative Region. Pink at the bottom, that is Region 13 or Caraga. Green on top is Region 1 or Ilocos Region. Green at the bottom, Region 8 or Eastern Visayas. Gray on top is Region 5 or Bicol Region. Gray at the bottom is Region 10. So kung papansinin natin, magkalayo pa yung region, no? Kung parehas ang kulay. So blue on top is Region 3. Kaya yung mga nakikinig natin dyan sa Region 3, ayan. So, blue on top ang makikita po natin na color strips ng mga plaka ng motorsiklo dyan. Considered as the motorcycle capital of the Philippines. Okay? Blue at bottom is Region 11. Top or purple on the top is Region 4A or Calabarzon. Purple on the bottom is Region 6. Orange on top is Region 4B or Mimaropa. Orange at the bottom is Region 7 or Central Visayas. Red on top is Region 2 or Cagayan Valley, no? Nueva Vizcaya, ganyan, Isabela, yan. Tuguegarao, Cagayan. So red on top is Cagayan Valley or Region 2. Red at the bottom is Region 9, Zamboanga Peninsula, and brown is Region 12. So ganito po yung kulay, mga kaibigan, ng mga color strips na tinatawag po natin. So makikita nyo, NCR walang kulay. Sa Cordillera, yan po pink on top. Region 1, green on top. Region 2 is red on top. Okay, at saka Region 3, kung makikita ninyo, blue on top. Ayan. And so on. Alright? So yan po mga kaibigan, yung color-coded strips na tinatawag po natin. Para sa ganon, hindi po magkaroon ng kapagkakapareho yung pong mga license plate or plate numbers. So next question, which must be installed at the rear portion of motor vehicle and should be visible at least 100 meters away? So letter A, tail light. Letter B, stop light. Letter C, headlight. And delta, brake lights. Naka-install sa sasakyan na dapat visible 100 meters away ay yung tail light. Yun yung ilaw. Na pag inilaw po ninyo yung pong headlight, nakailaw na po dapat yan. No? Ang purpose niyan para sa gabi, hindi po masusuro nung sumusunod yung pong kanyang sinusundan. Take note, dahil ang visibility 100 meters, ano ba yung ilaw na pinakamabilis mag-travel? So yan po yung red light. No, syempre, kaya karamihan na tail light ay kulay pula. All right? So, yung mga ito kasi ay ini-inspect mga kaibigan during the registration, no? I-inspect po 'yan, yung mga parts na 'yan bago po payagan na bigyan ng official receipt, no, para ma-renew yung registration ng inyong mga sasakyan. So ito yung mga required motor vehicle accessories subject to inspection before a motor vehicle will be registered. We have the tires, no? So motor vehicle with metallic tires are prohibited from operating in any public highway. Siyempre, masisira naman yung highway. So if the tires are solid, they should be thick enough to prevent the metal rims from touching the road pavement. So anong tire ang kailangan? Pneumatic tires, siyempre. Yung tire na goma na pwedeng bombahan ng hangin. The brake system naman, every motor vehicle, 4 or more wheels, hindi kasama motor, should be provided with a dual hydraulic brake system. No, para kaya pag may foot brake, meron pang hand brake, di ba? At least kapag nag-fail yung isa, meron pang pangalawa, no? So yan po yung preno, mga kaibigan. So dapat dual, no? Dual hydraulic brake system. Anong purpose? So that in case hydraulic line failure affecting broken efficiency of any four wheels, at least either front or rear wheels shall retain normal braking capabilities. Yan. So at least daw kung yung isa yung harap ay tumagas, at least meron pang likod, no? Pero ngayon meron tayong additional pa na handbrake aside from yung foot brakes. Yan. Okay, so basta dual hydraulic brake system, mga kaibigan. Hindi pwedeng single lang. Then horns, yan po yung busina. Every motor vehicle shall provide the horn or signaling device. Horn or signaling device para pagka may mga gusto kayo na bigyan ng warning, syempre magbusina, no? So provided however that your horn or signaling device should not provide exceptionally loud or startling or disagreeable sound, bawal naman yon. Headlight, dalawa dapat ang headlight and ilagay sa magkabila ang panig ng sasakyan, at syempre dapat ito ay naididim siya when meeting another motor vehicle. Tail light installed at the rear portion of motor vehicle and should be visible at least 100 meters away. Stop light, it is installed at the rear portion of vehicle which is visible if the driver apply pressure to the brakes, para sa ganon ay mabigyan din ng signal yung sumusunod para hindi mabangga yung nagpreno. We have also windshield wiper, no? Every motor vehicle shall be equipped with ay mechanically or electronically operated. Hindi pwedeng manual na ilalabas mo pa yung kamay mo. Yan, no? So dapat ay mechanical or electrically operated for wiping of raindrops or other moisture from its windshield. All right? Then use of red flag, no? Whenever the load of vehicle extend more than 1 meter. So pag may karga ka, like for example sa ELF, at ito'y nag-extend 1 meter beyond the body, kailangan nang maglagay ka ng red flag. So ang ideal na kulay dapat ay red, kasi nga kahit malayo kita ang red Kaya nga red flag ang tawag, no? Hindi dapat yung mga dull na kulay tulad ng sako bag o tulad ng trash bag, no? So po pwede yung mga light para sa ganong kitang-kita. Kasi kapag ka po yung karga mo nag-extend 1 meter beyond the body, mga kaibigan, ay hindi na po makikita yung tail light, no? At pwedeng ilagay or pwedeng malagay sa panganib ang buhay at ari-arian ng iba. Kaya nga kapag may karga na ganyan or may karga na bakal, wala pong red flag, pwede kang huliin for reckless driving. O bakit po, no? Kasi yung sitwasyon na yon ay pwedeng maglagay sa panganib sa buhay at ari-arian ng iba. So if you have a load which is beyond 1 meter or 1 meter and beyond the body, it is mandated that you need to put a red flag, okay, na kung saan ay ang kanyang laki should not be less than 30 centimeter both long and wide. Okay, so tandaan na yung mga light colors po dapat kung po pwede red, no, red para kitang-kita. Okay, muffler. Excuse me po. It shall be installed on every motor vehicle propelled by internal combustion engine and should not be cut or disconnected if the said motor vehicle will pass on a street or municipality na populated. Ang purpose kasi ng muffler is to muffle the sound para hindi gaanong maingay. So ibig sabihin, pag sobrang ingay po nung tambutso mga kaibigan ay modified or tinanggal ang muffler. Since the purpose of muffler is to reduce the sound that is being created by the motor vehicles. So alam nyo na, no, kapag ka po yung sasakyan masyadong malakas ang ugong, yun po ay tinanggal yung muffler or minodify, no? Kaya hinuhuli po yan ang ating mga traffic enforcers, yung mga modified mufflers, ganyan, no? Kasi nga, ito yung nag-create ng unnecessary, disagreeable noise, mga kaibigan. Alright, so tandaan po natin, yun po yung mga ini-inspect during the registration of motor vehicles. At saka pag pinara kayo ng LTO, syempre, at tatanungin, driver's registration please. Those are some of the accessories na i-check po nila isa-isa, no? Yan. Next question, which of the following act is prohibited under Republic Act number 10586? Ano ba yung ipinagbabawal sa 10586? Letter A, Drug Recognition Protocol. Letter B, Drug Recognition Evaluator. Letter C is blood alcohol concentration. And Delta, driving under the influence of dangerous drugs and other similar substances. Okay, so ang ipinagbabawal under 10586 is Delta, that is driving under the influence of dangerous drugs and other similar substances, no? So drug recognition protocol refers to the standardized and systematic method of determining whether the person is under the influence of dangerous drugs and other similar substances. Yun yung protocol, no? So ano ba yung ginagawa? Yung field sobriety test. Pag bumagsak sa field sobriety test ay mag-undergo ng ABA or yung alcohol breath analyzer test. So yun po yung standard and systematic procedure. Ang tawag natin doon ay drug recognition protocols. Then we have also drug recognition evaluator. Ito po ay tumutukoy doon sa trained na law enforcement officer na dineputize ng LTO para mag-conduct ng drug recognition protocol. No, yung traffic enforcer na deputize or yung member ng ating Philippine National Police who are deputized by the Land Transportation Office to implement the provision of Republic Act number 10586. Ano naman po yung blood alcohol concentration level na tinatawag or BAC? Ang blood alcohol concentration, ito po yung dami ng alcohol na nakahalo sa dugo. Hindi po ito tumutukoy sa dami ng nainom nung pong driver, kundi tumutukoy po ito sa dami ng alcohol na nakahalo sa ating dugo. Ayan. Then driving under the influence of dangerous drugs and similar substance. It refers to the act of operating motor vehicle after being subject to confirmatory test at na-confirm nga na positive na ikaw ay nakagamit ng droga o kaya naman po ay yung pong alcohol, mga kaibigan. Okay, so what are the punishable acts under Section 5 of RA number 10586? We have number 1, driving under the influence of alcohol or DUYA refers to the act of operating a motor vehicle while the driver's blood alcohol concentration level after being subjected to ABA reach the level of intoxication. So ano ba yung level of intoxication? Depende doon sa minamaneho ninyong sasakyan. Kapag ka ang minamaneho mong sasakyan ay 4 wheels, no? 4 wheels, ayan. So a driver of a private vehicle with the gross weight of not exceeding 4.5, yan nga po yung 4 wheels, yung mga sedan, ganyan, ang allowed ay hanggang 0.049. Yan. Kapag ka po umabot na po yan ng 0.05 or 5%, kung 0.49, pasado pa yon. Pero pag umabot ng 0.05 or higher, then conclusive proof that the driver is already under the influence of alcohol. So tandaan na pagka 4 wheels, considered na lasing yan kapag umabot ng 0.05 pataas, 0.051, 52, 53, 56, 0.06 or 6%, lasing na yon. For drivers of truck, bus, motorcycle, and public utility vehicles, a blood alcohol concentration of more than 0.0. Kaya mag-ingat mga kaibigan dyan na mga nagmomotor. Pagka lumagpas na po sa 0.0 yung blood alcohol concentration level po ninyo, that is already conclusive proof that you are under the influence of alcohol. Di ba? So kaya mga kaibigan na nagda-drive ng pampasada, yung pong nagmamaneho or nagda-drive ng motorsiklo, truck at saka bus, ay wag na lang uminom pagka magmamaneho, di ba? Yun po ay payong kaibigan lamang. Kasi kapag nahuli po kayo for violation of 10586, you will be arrested and imprisoned, and of course, the motor vehicle will be impounded. Yan, no? Ito yung traffic violation na may kulong, no? Tsaka impound pa yung sasakyan. Driving under the influence of dangerous drugs and other similar substances or DWID, no? Driving under the influence of drugs refers to the act of operating a motor vehicle while the driver, after having subject to confirmatory test, positive na ikaw ay nakagamit ng droga. Okay, bago nila sabihin na ikaw ay nagda-drive under influence of drugs, okay, kailangan mag-positive ka muna sa confirmatory test. Bago nila sabihin na ikaw ay driving under the influence of alcohol, kailangan na ma-prove na more than the specified limit. Yun pong yung alcohol or yung alcohol na nakahalo sa dugo po ninyo. So tandaan po mga kaibigan magkaiba po yung blood alcohol concentration level. Pag ang minamaneho ay motorsiklo, truck, bus, or yung mga pampasadang sasakyan, more than 0.0 is already considered as intoxicated, and that is already a conclusive proof. Alam naman natin ang conclusive evidence or conclusive proof that you are intoxicated with alcohol. No? Kapag ka naman 4 wheels ay pwede hanggang 0.049. Pag 0.05 ay medyo ayan ay violation na po. Alright? Next question. Upon personal determination of blank, a deputized law enforcement officer shall flag down the motor vehicle, direct the driver to step out of the vehicle, and determine whether or not the driver is drunk or drugged. Letter A, probable cause. Letter B, substantial evidence. Letter C, preponderance of evidence. And delta, proof beyond reasonable doubt. So, ano ba yung kailangan na quantum of evidence na kailangan ng isang officer bago niya pwedeng parahin ang driver ng isang sasakyan? Yun po ay probable cause. Ayan. So, procedure in screening for driving under the influence of alcohol. This is very important, ladies and gentlemen, since ito po yung inyong gagawin pagka kayo po ay naging traffic enforcer or naging police and you are deputized by the LTO to enforce traffic laws, rules, and regulations. So, umpisahan po natin. Upon a personal determination, hindi pwedeng hearsay, dapat personal na may probable cause to believe that a certain driver is intoxicated with alcohol. You, as a deputized law enforcement officer, shall flag down. So paparahin mo yung motor vehicle, then direct the driver to step out of the vehicle and determine whether or not the driver is drunk or drugged. Or if the law enforcement has reasonable ground to believe that the driver is drunk, ano po yung kailangan na or ano yung mga circumstances? Sabi mo yung driver nakainom, Pwedeng busina ng busina, wala namang emergency, kaway ng kaway, hindi naman po artista, nagkakaroon ng lane straddling, palipat-lipat ng linya, ganyan. Okay, those are some of the circumstances that can give you a reasonable belief that the person is intoxicated with alcohol or under the influence of drug. No? If the law enforcement officer has a reasonable ground based on facts and circumstances, the law enforcement officer shall expressly inform the driver of his assessment, and the driver shall be directed to perform all the 3 field sobriety tests on site. So ano po ba yung tatlong field sobriety test ulit? We have the horizontal gaze nystagmus or eye grazing or eye test. Andyan yung tinatawag na walk and turn test, and syempre yung one leg stand, mga kaibigan, na pinaliwanag po natin kanina, no? Yung horizontal gaze nystagmus or eye grazing, 1 foot away, ganyan, no? And you must follow the item, no? Pagka hindi na po lumalagpas ng 45 degrees, nako, considered na as intoxicated, babagsak ka doon. So isusulat lahat yung assessment na yan. Pangalawa, yung walk and turn, 9 steps forward, then after which iikot 9 steps ulit babante, no? Dapat diretso. Then of course you have the one leg stand. Yan po yung iaangat yung isang paa 6 inches or mas mataas, then maintain the position within 30 seconds. All right? So the law enforcement officer shall record the driver's response to the field sobriety test above enumerated, or yun na-discuss natin kanina, mga kaibigan, and record shall forms part of the records of the case. If the driver passes all the 3 field sobriety tests, the driver shall be apprehended for other offenses only, but not in violation of RA 10586. So sir, anong possible violation? Kung ako po pwede, i-check natin yung reckless driving. Bakit? Ang reckless driving kasi napakalawak ng saklaw, lahat ng klase ng pagmamaneho na kung saan ay nilalagay mo sa panganib ang buhay at ari-arian ng iba. Ngayon, kapag ka ikaw ay pumasa sa blood alcohol concentration level, yung test yan, kunwari 0.045, uminom ka pa rin. So, dahil uminom ka ng alak, abay po pwedeng tikitan ka for violation of 4136 but not violation of 10586. Kasi sa 10586, kailangan pag 4 wheels is 0.50 or 0.05 or 5%. 0.05, no? Ayan. So, 5% po yun. So, hindi mo na pwedeng huliin sa 10586 pag pumasa sa tatlo. If the driver fails in any, kahit isa lang, sa mga field sobriety test, the law enforcement shall proceed to determine the BAC or blood alcohol concentration level through the use of alcohol breath analyzer or yung tinatawag na ABA test. Saan gagawin yung ABA test na yan? On-site. Right? A driver of a motor vehicle refuses to undergo the mandatory testing as required shall be penalized by automatic confiscation and revocation of license, mga kaibigan. So ang bigat po ng parusa. In addition to other penalties herein or other pertinent law after compliance with the requirement of due process. A driver who, after ABA registered a BAC higher than the prescribed limit, shall be put under arrest and the motor vehicle will be impounded. The law enforcement officer shall observe the proper procedure in effecting the arrest. Kasi pag mag-a-arrest ka na, syempre, yung basic rules sa arrest, kailangan na iyong gagawin. No? And bringing the driver to the nearest police station for detention. But take note, you must observe the rules on arrest as provided under the POP rules and observing yung pong Republic Act number 7438 at saka yung Miranda Doctrine, no? Yan. Then the motor vehicle will be impounded as well, no? The motor vehicle shall also be brought to the nearest LTO impounding area until the same is claimed by authorized representative of its registered owner, no? Na syempre babayaran yung mga penalty. In case of the blood alcohol concentration is within the allowed limit, the driver shall be apprehended for other traffic offenses tulad po nung reckless driving, no? Yan. So, and not with the violation of 10586. Again, Under no circumstance shall driver who has undergone and passed the field sobriety test or ABA test be subjected to drug screening. So kapag sinubject mo siya ng field sobriety, pumasa, then that person should not be subjected to drug testing, no? So the law enforcement officer shall accomplish the following preparatory turnover of the case to the police officer on duty or to the investigator on case, no? Yung mga sumusunod na papeles pagka pa-filean nyo ng kaso in violation of 10586. Ano po yan? Na complaint charge or sheet, since this is a mala prohibita law, so ang complainant ay yung nakahuli, no? So kasi sabi natin may tatlong posibleng complainant, no? Ang definition ng complaint, ano ba yung definition niya? Any sworn statement subscribed by the offended party, kung may offended party. Pag wala, any peace officer. So sa mga crime mala prohibita tulad nito, yung police, siya po yung complainant. You have also to submit the result of field sobriety test, kasama na yung ABA test, in prescribed format na nakalagay sa manual, no? Then inventory of items under temporary custody to include the motor vehicle when necessary and other pertinent documents, mga kaibigan, no? Ganon. So yun po yung procedures in screening for driving under the influence of alcohol. I hope na nakuha nyo yung procedure, since yan yung mga gagawin nyo or i-apply nyo in the future, or possible na i-apply po sa inyo pagka kayo ay nagmaneho na kung saan kayo ay lasing or under the influence of dangerous drugs. All right? Next question, mga kaibigan, who among the following need not to be deputized to enforce and implement the provision of Republic Act number 10586, LTO, active members of the PNP, members of LGUs, no? Police auxiliaries, active member of Metropolitan Development Authority or MMDA. Yan, sino ba yung hindi na po kailangan na i-deputize, mga kaibigan, no? So the answer for this question is the Land Transportation Office or LTO. Bakit po hindi na sila kailangan na i-deputize, no? Dahil yan ay part ng kanilang trabaho, no? So qualification of deputized law enforcement officers, the LTO may deputize. So LTO po ang nagde-deputize. So hindi na kailangan sila i-deputize since that is part of their function. So the LTO, mga kaibigan, the LTO may deputize only active members of the Philippine National Police, the MMDA, no, in Metropolitan Manila, and the local government units who are occupying permanent position items and whose present work assignments are directly and accurately or actually related to traffic management, yung mga nasa traffic management unit ng mga cities, no? LTO enforcement officer by virtue of their function need not to be deputized to enforce and implement these rules. However, said LTO enforcers shall be subject to the same reportorial and procedural guidelines set forth herein. The law enforcement officer with previous deputation revoke or whatsoever reason shall not be qualified. So kung na-revoke, syempre, hindi mo na kailangan or hindi mo na pwede na i-deputize ulit. Alright, next question. It shall be unlawful for a driver covered vehicle not to properly secure at all times in a child restraint system while engine is running or transporting a child on any road, street, or highway unless the child is at least 150 centimeter or 59 inches in height and properly secured using the regular seatbelt. The child restraint system shall appropriate to the child age and weight and approve in accordance with RA number 11229. Ito po yung isa sa kasama sa TOS, mga kaibigan. No? Nung nakaraang board exam, ang tinanong lang dyan, etong child restraint system na yan. Okay? So this is a extension actually of the seatbelt law. Kasi nga naman kapag ka po ang bata ay nakasakay sa sasakyan at inilagay yung standard seatbelt eksakto sa kanyang lieg, yung seatbelt, instead na yun ay magliligtas sa kanya kapag ka bigla mong ipreno, baka lalo pang mapabilis ang pagkamatay ng bata. Kaya po ipinasa yung Republic Act number 11229 requiring the installation of child restraint system kapag ka po meron kayong sinasakay or meron kayong pasaherong bata. Ayan. So kailangan na meron pong child restraint system na tinatawag. Alright? So yun po yung upuan ng bata na naka-secured siya tapos ilalagay nyo naman, i-attach nyo yun sa sasakyan. Alright? So, what are the circumstances in which provision of this act are not applicable? 1. During medical emergencies. 2. When the child transported has a medical or developmental condition na hindi pwede na siya ay i-attach sa or ilagay sa child restraint or other analogous circumstances. Letter A, 1 only. Letter B, 1 and 2 only. Letter C, 1 and 3 only. Or Delta, 1, 2, and 3. So the answer for this question is Delta. Okay? So tandaan po natin yung unang concept dyan, mga kaibigan, kapag ka po kayo ay bumabiyahe gamit po ang 4-wheel motor vehicle or yung mga covered vehicle, 4 wheel, 6 wheels, basta covered, ay dapat ay meron pong child restraint system. Pero may mga exempting circumstances. So ano yung mga exempting circumstance? Tatlo po yan. During medical emergencies, when the child transported have a medical developmental condition in which the child is not suitable na ilalagay sa child restraint system and AD other analogous circumstances. Okay? So that is very clear, provided under Section 4 of RA number 11229 provides that it shall be illegal or unlawful for a driver covered with a vehicle not to properly secure at all times a child in a child restraint system while the engine is running or transporting a child in any road, street, or highway. Unless the child, ano yung height niya? 150 cm or 59 inches. Yan. O, parang adult na rin yun. The child restraint system shall be appropriate sa child age, height, and weight. Yan, magandang negosyo yung pagbibenta ng child restraint system. Yan. Pero may mga exempting circumstances nga. Ito yung during medical emergencies. Hindi naman kailangan na tinatakbo mo sa ospital, lalagay mo pa sa child restraint system. Hindi practical, no? When a child transported may medical or developmental condition at yung mga circumstances na parehas doon sa dalawang nabanggit. Alright? Next question, ladies and gentlemen. At an intersection without stop or yield sign. Itong question na ito ay kinuha po doon sa right-of-way rules. No? So at an intersection without stop or yield signs, two cars reach the intersection at the same time. Which car has the right-of-way? O sa ibang libro, sabi nila, same time rule. Di ba? No, pero wala namang gano'n. No? Right-of-way rules pa rin yan. Right and left. No? So, pagkasabay yung dalawang sasakyan sa intersection at wala pong traffic control device, meaning walang traffic light, wala pong pavement marking, walang traffic sign, walang stop sign at saka walang yield sign, abay syempre hindi nyo alam kung sinong mauuna. Dito ina-apply yung same time rule na sabi ng ibang book o kaya right and left rule, no? Saan ang may right of way? Kung yung isa nasa kanan, yung isa nasa kaliwa or nasa intersection, sino sa kanilang dalawa pag nagkaroon ng head-on collision, sinong may kasalanan? So anong i-apply na rule dyan? That is yung same time rule or yung right and left rule at ang may right of way ay yung nasa right, no? Kaya right of way, madaling tandaan, yung nasa right. Kaya nga pag kumakaliwa ka, ingat ka lang kasi lagi na ikaw ang dihado. Kung sinong may karapatan, siya ang may karapatan pag nagkaroon ng aksidente, mga kaibigan. So, another question, no? At an intersection, without stop or yield signs, two cars reach the intersection at the same time. Which car will give the right of way? Yung una kasi nakatanong, sino yung may right of way? Dito naman, sino naman yung mag-give way or mag-yield? So the answer for this question is the car on the left. Diba? Pwede rin naman tanungin, who will be given the right of way? Ganon, ano? Who will be given the right of way? Yung isa, who will give? So who will give the right of way? The car on the left. Okay? Who will be given? The car on the right. Okay, so ito po for example intersection na wala pong traffic control device. Yan, at saka yung collision na sa head-on, okay, sa may tinatawag na box junction. Yan. So kunwari yung isa galing po diyan, yung isa naman ay galing po dito sa kabila at nagkaroon ng head-on collision. So titingnan niyo sino ba yung galing sa kanan, di ba? So yun po. Sino ba yung galing sa kaliwa? So, doon yung makikita yung left and right rule. So, sino dapat ang magpapabigay? Yung galing sa left side. Sabi nga, no? So, yung galing sa kaliwa. So, sino ang may right of way? Yung nasa kanan. No? So, it's very important to know the right of way rules, ladies and gentlemen, since it is also one of the basis to determine kung sino yung may kapabayaan doon sa traffic accident investigation. In the latest board question, ito naman po yung tinanong, no? While traversing an intersection, you should yield to vehicles that are already or approaching the intersection from your letter A, left, letter B, back, letter C, right, or delta is front, no? So ano po ang sagot dyan? That is right. So ang pagbibigyan lagi yung nasa kanan. Okay? Tandaan natin kung kumaliwa ka, ingat ka lang. Next question. The holder of a student permit was put into a real-life driving situation from the very beginning without prior lecture. What type of driver's education method was applied? Letter A, comprehensive. Letter B, traditional instruction. Letter C, commentary driving method. And Delta, simulated conditions and off-the-road training. So the holder of the student permit was put into a real-life driving situation from the very beginning without prior lecture. So what type of driver education method was applied? Letter A, comprehensive. Letter B, traditional instruction. Letter C, commentary driving method. And Delta, simulated conditions and off-the-road training. The answer for this question is Alpha, that is comprehensive. Kapag wala ng lecture, hands-on agad, comprehensive driving method, no? So we have four basic types of instruction method used in driver's education program. Yan nga po yung comprehensive, no, method. Immerse the student in real-life driving scenarios right from the start. So ibig sabihin wala nang lecture, hands-on agad. Diba? Hands-on without prior lecture. Hands-on agad. Pag traditional instruction naman, it is a type of instruction depend on instructor-student communication. Ito yung pinopromote ngayon na dapat ay meron munang lecture bago hands-on. Traditional method of learning yan. Lecture bago hands-on. So ito po yung dahilan kung bakit ngayon kailangan pag kumuha ka ng student mo, dapat mag-undergo ka muna ng theoretical driving course at i-issuehan ka ng theoretical driving course certificate bago ka bigyan ng student driver's permit, no? Kaya po may TDC na kung saan ang required ay 15 hours. Pagka nag-attend ka sa lecture na yan, then a certificate will be issued. Ang tawag nila ay TDCC, no? Or Theoretical Driving Course Certificate. All right? Then commentary driving method, no, it is a type of driver's instruction in which the student will be accompanied by an instructor. As the student driver drives, the instructor has to give comments on his driving. So madalas ninyong nakikita yan, ano, yung mga binavlog nila na habang nagda-drive ay nagko-comment. Okay? O kaya naman, bago mag-drive dapat yung driver magbigay ng comments, pagkatapos mag-drive, then magbigay ulit ng comment. Pero kung alam mo na magagalitin ka, huwag kang magbigay ng comment during the time na nagda-drive yung estudyante kasi ninenervyos na nga, tapos nag-comment ka pa pabigla-bigla, o kaya salita mo pa lang galit na, baka lalong nervyusin. So give the comments before and after. Alright? So, pero kung yung mga mababait naman na nagtuturo, pwede magbigay ng comments during, no, para makita agad nung estudyante kung ano ang kanyang kamalian. Alright? And we have also simulated conditions and off-the-road training. The premise of simulated condition training is that the behavior ng driver, no, subject placed in a condition will be relatively analogous or the same to normal behavior. So we have two methods of simulation presently adopted. We have partial. This method had a specific aim for training, like for example, yung manibela lang muna, ganon. No, kaya yung ginagawa nyo sa cellphone, di ba, manibela, preno, at least nalalaman nyo ano yung gamit ng manibela, preno, accelerator. Partial lang po yon. Pero kapag pumunta ka doon sa isang machine or computer na meron na rin yung andon na rin yung mga parts ng sasakyan like gear shift lever or cambio, no, andon na rin po yung steering wheel or manibela, no? Tapos may accelerator, brake clutch or yung ABC ng traffic, no? Global simulation na po 'yon, no? Tapos yung nasa monitor mo, may dadaang ambulansya, anong gagawin mo, ganun. So that is global. Kung yung totoong nangyayari sa kalsada ay nakikita mo doon sa monitor, okay? So para makita yung kung anong gagawin mo, no? If in case na mangyari yung ganun. Sa traditional instruction naman, gaya na nasabi natin kanina, le-lecturean ka muna doon sa tinatawag na ABCs of driving. Ano yon? Accelerator, brake, clutch, steering wheel, at saka gear shift lever. Kasama na yung basic traffic laws, rules, and regulation. Yun yung traditional lecture bago hands-on. Pag hands-on, comprehensive. Kapag habang nagda-drive ka, magko-comment yung teacher or yung instructor. O kaya naman po ay nagbibigay ng comment yung instructor while you are driving. It is called commentary driving method. Kapag ka po wala ka sa kalsada pero yung ginagawa mo ay ginagawa din ng driver sa kalsada, nagpepreno, nag-accelerator, ganon, may specific task lang like manibela, manibela lang, that is partial. Pero kung lahat-lahat ay mau-observe mo at mararanasan mo habang wala ka sa kalsada, nasa harap ka ng monitor o computer, tapos may mga parts na rin ng sasakyan na nandun sa computer na yon, edi global simulation. Alright? So ang tawag doon sa ginagamit, simulator. Next question. If the driver of a vehicle in front of you is giving a hand signal and is stretching his left arm out and giving you a hand signal pointing to the left, he is, letter A, stopping, letter B, turning to the left, letter C, turning to the right, and delta, trying to conduct U-turn. So the answer for this question is turning to the left. So left arm naman talaga pag four wheels yan, hindi naman pwedeng right arm kasi yun yung ginagamit mo pang manibela at syempre hindi rin makikita ng sumusunod pagka ang ginamit ay right. O, kaya ang ginagamit po pag nag-signal ay left arm. So ganito po yung hand signals mga kaibigan. Kapag ka po inilabas nyo yung kamay po ninyo, no, palm facing front pa rin, that is left turn. Yan. Pagka naman po itinaas po ninyo ay right turn. Kapag ka ibinaba ninyo yung palm ay facing at the back or sa likod, meaning you are slowing or stopping. Okay? So those are the hand signals mga kaibigan. Next question. This is about parking naman, ano? Parking procedures. So Mr. Sam is visiting a city and needs to park his car on a street where there is a curb. The street slopes uphill. So paakyat, syempre, no? And there is a curb present. What should Mr. Sam do to ensure he parks correctly and safely? So letter A, park parallel to the curb with the wheels turned to the right as the street slopes uphill. Letter B, park parallel to the curb with the wheels straight since the street is on an inclined position or pataas or paakyat or incline. Letter C, park perpendicular to the curb and ensure the wheels are turned to the right for safety. No? Then delta, park parallel to the curb with the wheels turned to the left as the street slopes uphill and there is a curve. So ano po ang tamang pagpaparada sa uphill? That is delta, no? So the wheels, front wheels must turn to the left para pag umatras yung wheel niya sa harap ay maikakalso, no? So ganito po yung pagparada or tamang pagparada mga kaibigan pag downhill traffic. Okay, downhill at paparada kayo, may curve. So anong gagawin? You must turn it to the right, no? Pagka uphill, syempre, turn to the left. Yan, kung makikita nyo. Pagka umatras yan, sakto po may kakalso yung unang gulong doon. Ito naman, maikakalso dito. So hindi nyo pwedeng isa agad dito sa curb, ano, or yung curb stones or yung bukol sa gilid kasi may gutter pa yan, no? So, kapag ka naman no curve uphill or downhill, then you must turn to the right. So ito po yung proper mga kaibigan. Parking in cities and towns unless otherwise directed by city or municipal ordinance, motor vehicles will be parked parallel. Parallel. So dapat ko nakaayon doon sa kalsada, hindi po perpendicular. And within 12 inches, hindi pwedeng igilid na saktong gilid kasi nga sabi ko may gutter pa. For additional precaution while parking, observe the following. Pag downhill, with or without curb, turn wheels to the right. Uphill curb with curb. Yan, turn wheels to the left or turn wheels from the curb. Okay, so to the left yan. So from the curb. Then uphill without curb, turn wheels to the curb. Okay, so parking on a highway. On rural roads, pull entirely of the pavement to park sa gilid, syempre. And whenever practicable, if you will park, then turn on your parking lights, no, habang ikaw ay nagpa-park para hindi masuro ang iyong sasakyan. So those are some of the rules governing parking, mga future criminologies and future top-notchers. All right. Next question, what is the method of documentation that the traffic investigator should utilize to document anything that is related to crime that cannot be documented through the use of camera, no? So kung hindi pwede ang camera, hindi pwede ang photography. So syempre sa photography ay ginagamit to preserve the evidence, no? Ngayon, pagka gusto mo namang ipakita yung pong mga relationship ng evidence, ay pwede yung sketching, no? No, pero yun, syempre, kapag hindi makita, edi syempre, di rin pwedeng i-sketch, di ba? So, anong gagamitin? Yung note-taking. Kasi yun yung mga information na naaamoy, di ba? Naririnig, natitikman, at nadadama or nalalamas. Yan. Next question. What should Mr. X do in response to two snappy blasts from a traffic enforcer? Letter A, pull over to the side of the road. Letter B, slow down and prepare to stop. Letter C, ignore the signals and continue driving. Letter D, proceed through the intersection since two blasts means go. Ayan. So ano bang gagawin kapag binigyan ka ng dalawang snappy blast using a whistle sa traffic sa highway or sa intersection ng isang traffic enforcer, di ba? Ayan. So anong gagawin? Proceed through the intersections since two blasts means go. All right? So, tandaan po natin mga kaibigan, sa direction of traffic, ang ginagamit po dyan ay hand signals, hindi po humihiyaw, ganyan, no? And aside from hand signals, kapag ka po ah, yan ay hindi pa naman gabi, araw, yung hand signals, it is supported by a whistle, no? So, dapat alam natin kung ano yung mga meaning ng whistles. Ayan. Okay, so what are the suggested method of directing and guiding traffic? Okay, so as a possible future traffic enforcers, ayan, or assigned sa traffic unit ng Philippine National Police, and you will be deputized sa traffic management unit, or i-deputize kayo ng LTO, then or kung made-deputize kayo, at least alam nyo yung direction of traffic, no? So tandaan nyo yung sinabi ko kanina, ang responsible po sa traffic management hindi po LTO kundi yung local government unit, at karamihan ay maa-assign sa mga uh, local government unit if you will be assigned as organic member of specific territory or specific municipality, city, province, or region. So hindi malayo na kayo ay mag-direct or mag-guide ng traffic, no? So ano ang ginagamit sa pag-direct? We have hand signals. Kaya importante po yung kamay, di ba? Kapag ginaganon ninyo, di ba? Slow down, yan. O kapag stop, paano ba? O, facing yung palm mo, dapat nakaharap dun sa papa-stop mo. Okay, so tingnan natin. Use hand signals to designate decisions to motorists and pedestrian. To supplement the arm or hand signal with a whistle, so ano yung mga meaning? One long blow means to stop. Two short snappy blasts means to go. Prut, prut. Yan. Pagka prut, ayan, stop. Pagka tatlo, meaning to say you need assistance. All right. So if two or more officers are assigned to one intersection, only one will make the decision. Usually yung nasa center of intersection, siya po yung susundin ng mga kasamahan, no? While the other takes theirs or their order from him. Matatandaan, hindi pwedeng lahat sila masusunod, baka magbangga-bangga yung mga sasakyan. So isa lang dapat yung nasa gitna. To stop a moving lane, point at the car you intend to stop and give the driver opportunity to stop. Hindi pwedeng yung nasa mismong intersection na siya yung pai-stop mo. Around 2 or 3 motor vehicle mula sa intersection, yun yung ipo-point mo, then papa-stop mo. Hindi yung nasa intersection na tapos saka mo papa-stop, no? Or yung nasa mismong stop line na. The hand signal should be made with arm extended and palm facing to the person. So ganyan po kung papa-stop po ninyo mga kaibigan. So ngayon pagkagabi syempre ang gagamitin mo naman para maging supplement doon sa or yung gagamitin mo as supplement device ay yung flashlight naman para mag-direct ng traffic. All right? So those are the suggested methods of directing and guiding traffic. Next question. A driver should give a signal when turning to the left or right on the road intersection in no less than 30 meters. So bago po kayo lumipat ng linya, dapat ay nakapagbigay na kayo ng signal within 30 meters. Pero depende po yan kung sakto lang yung takbo mo, yan po yung 30 meters. Pero pag sobrang bilis, abay, syempre dapat mas malayo pa. So, yan yung standard, no? 30 meters before you will change the lane. Kapag nag-change ka ng lane, wala man lang signal light or kabod, lipat ka agad. That is reckless driving, no? That is lane straddling or swerving, no? How long would you give signal before changing lanes on a highway? So kung walang 30 meters sa segundo naman, gaano katagal? So letter A, change lane immediately. Letter B is 10 seconds before changing lanes. Letter C is 50 seconds before changing lanes. Letter D is 100 seconds before changing lane. So the answer for this question is bravo. Okay, so 10 seconds at saka 30 meters. All right. Next question. The right to bail can be availed of provided that the evidence of guilt is not strong. Bail shall be denied when the evidence of guilt is strong in the following instances, except letter A, when charged with robbery of bulldozer, letter B, when the crime of carnapping is committed by criminal groups, gangs, or syndicate, letter C, when carnapping is committed by means of violence or intimidation of any person or persons or force upon things, and delta, when the owner, driver, passenger, or occupant of the carnap vehicle is killed or raped in the course of carnapping. So this is in line with the Republic Act number 10883, mga kaibigan, no? So, kung yan ay anti-carnapping law, ang hindi kasama dyan ay alpha. So, sa 10883 kasi, bawal na mag-post ng bail or ipinagbabawal ng batas na pagbigyan uh, yung isang suspect ng carnapping na mag-post ng piyansa. Okay, if the evidence of guilt is strong, no? And of course, kapag ito ay ang nakakumit ay criminal gangs, groups, or syndicate, o kaya ginamitan po ng violence or intimidation, or may pinatay po doon sa occupant. So, bawal yung bail except sa robbery of bulldozer kasi di naman kasama yan doon sa violation of Anti-Carnapping Act, mga kaibigan. Alright? Our next question. What traffic violation can be filed against a motor vehicle driver who parks in front of a driveway? What is the traffic violation that can be filed against a motor vehicle driver who parks in front of a driveway? So letter A, obstruction, letter B, illegal parking, letter C, improper parking, and delta is unallowed parking. So the answer for this question is obstruction. Basta binarahan nyo yung or nakabara doon po sa magandang flow ng traffic, it is called as obstruction. So parking in front of the driveway obstruct the access, no? And considered a violation related to blocking or obstructing a roadway or access point. So ang violation ay obstruction. Next question. Mr. X is driving on a mountainous road when he notices guardrails installed along steep slopes. How do the guardrails benefit Mr. X while driving in this area? So letter A, they provide a scenic view of the landscape. Letter B, they serve as a marker for the speed limit. Letter C, they are only decorative and serve no purpose. And delta, they prevent vehicles from running off-road or hitting fixed object. So ano ba yung gamit mo or ano ba muna yung guardrail? Saan nilalagay? So nilalagay po yan sa mga areas na may mga bangin para sa ganon ay hindi po mahulog yung mga sasakyan o kaya yung mga may object para hindi po bumangga yung sasakyan sa object na yan. So that is the purpose of guardrail. So the answer for this question is delta, no? So the guardrails or the benefits from guardrails is to prevent vehicles from running off-road or hitting the fixed object. All right? Oh, ito po yung tinatawag natin na guardrails. Ang purpose niya nilalagay sa gilid para nga hindi pagka na loose brake ganon, at least hindi tatalon dun sa bangin, no? Hindi po magkakaroon ng running off-road, especially kung mataas yung bangin, linalagyan ng guardrails, no? Yan naman nilalagay sa gitna na either semento, basta movable yan, ano? Ito nilalagay sa gitna in order to prevent swerving or yung counter flowing, no? Ang tawag natin diyan, movable po yan, pwedeng plastic, pwede pong semento, ayan, na may Pwedeng semento po yan, pwedeng plastic na may tubig, pwede pong bakal, basta nilalagay sa gitna para iwasan ang counterflowing. That is called median barrier. Median means it is put at the center. Then we have gantries. Ano naman po yung gantry? Yung lagayan ng sign na yan, ano? Yung kung saan inilagay yung sign overhead. Ayan. So madalas po nating makita yan sa mga expressways in which the traffic sign is put overhead. Kasi yung traffic sign, nasa gilid lang po yan, no? Pero yan, yung mga nakalagay sa overhead, ang tawag po natin dyan ay gantry. We have also the so-called traffic bollards. Ayan po yung traffic bollards, could be either plastic or it could be either a steel or iron, no? Na pwedeng ilagay sa kalsada na ang meaning niyan ay or pwedeng ilagay as ang traffic bollard kasi pwedeng gamitin to prevent entry, pwede ring ilagay po sa gitna as a median barrier, ganon. Depende po sa shape kasi meron po yan yung square form, meron naman po yan yung cone, parang ganito. Yan. Pero usually kung saan ba madalas gamitin yan para i-prevent yung entry o kaya ginagamit yan temporarily kung may ginagawang kalsada to prevent entry. Ganon, no? Okay, next question. Mr. X, a traffic management officer, is tasked with improving safety on BC Divided Highway, known for its high accident rate. He must select the most effective combination of safety measures to reduce accidents and enhance traffic management. Which combination of safety device should Mr. X prioritize for installation on the highway? So letter A, curbstones and guardrails. Letter B, median barriers and guardrails. Letter C is early warning devices and way bridges. And Delta, gantries and closed-circuit television. So ano ba yung i-address niya? No? High rate, accident rate in a busy divided highway. Ayan. So ano yung kailangan niyang gawin? No? No, high accident rate na, tapos busy pa. So, kailangan may magdagdag ng median barriers para walang mag-counterflow at para iwasan na may mga mahulog sa bangin or bumangga sa mga fixed objects, no, near the roadway ay pwedeng maglagay po ng guard rails, no? Ayan. So ang tawag po natin sa mga ito ay other traffic control devices. Meron tayong median barriers, no? No, nakita nyo sa image kanina. So these are usually movable concrete, no? Or hard plastic with or without water inside. No, pero madalas pag malakas ang hangin, nilalagyan po yan ng water yung plastic installed on divided highway with narrow centers to prevent head-on collision of vehicles and to restrict pedestrian from crossing at any section of the road. We have guardrails saan nilalagay sa roadside to protect vehicles which run out of control from following on steep slopes or hitting a fixed object. Para hindi din tumalon sa bangin, di ba? Gantries, these are usually installed overhead. So yan yung nakita nyo kanina na nasa itaas ng kalsada, no? Overhead. Kung saan nilalagay yung mga traffic devices or traffic aids, no? Early warning device, although hindi naman siya part ng kalsada, pero pwede nating makita yan na kung saan ang sinasabi niyan ay meron pong nasira ang sasakyan. Ang early warning device ay kailangan na dala-dala ng four-wheel motor vehicles pagka po nasiraan. Bakit pag two wheels hindi? Syempre kung two wheels pwede naman pong buhatin at igilid. Kung four wheels at talagang hindi po movable yung sasakyan, kung nasiraan, yan ang ilalagay, early warning device. Sir, ibig sabihin pang umaga lang kasi early. Early kasi nga ilalagay in front at saka doon sa likod para mawarningan ka earlier bago dumating doon sa may sirang sasakyan. Kaya tinawag na early warning device, hindi dahil sa umaga lang pwedeng gamitin, no? So it is a triangular shape reflectorized device used to warn or inform the motorist in advance about an emergency stalled or parked motor vehicle na nasiraan. Curb or curb stones, these are aligned stones alongside of roads. Ito yung mga makikita nyo rin yung boundary ng highway at yung mga private properties. Ganun. Yan yung may, may sa gilid ng gutter, meron kayo makikita parang bukol. Yan, yun yung tinatawag curb stones or curb. Way bridges, from the word weighing, no? Weighing bridges, ang isang tawag dyan, ginagamit pang timbang, no? Para sa ganun ay makita kung ang sasakyan ay, especially yung mga truck or cargo trucks, ay nagko-comply doon sa load limits. So para makita kung sino ang nagba-violate ng Overloading Act of the Philippines. Yan. Then we have also closed circuit television because of the advent of new technology. It is also being used to monitor yung mga traffic violators, and yan po ay sinusubukan ng gamitin in Metro Manila, no? So these are devices could assist traffic enforcers and managers to monitor usual or unusual traffic occurrences. The CCTVs are also valuable in detection, identification, and apprehension, no? So ginagamit ang CCTV sa no contact apprehension policy, actually, na dinadry run sa Metro Manila. Yan, no? At idagdag nyo na rin yung traffic control device and aids, yung ginagamit ngayon na drone, no? So sa part ng Tuba Benguet, ginagamit ang drone naman para ma-monitor kung may mga traffic accident naman, no? O traffic accident na nangyari within the part of Marcos Highway dito sa Baguio City. Mga kaibigan, papunta kayo dito. So part ng Tuba Benguet kasi yan. So may mga pinapalipan na drone to monitor if there are motor vehicles na nasiraan sa kalsada or nagkaroon ng traffic accident. All right? The next question, during a recent traffic safety campaign, Mr. X learns about the various types of collisions that occur on roads. He wants to educate the public on different forms of collisions, no? Which following scenarios would classify as a collision on road? One, a motor vehicle hits a pedestrian standing on the side of the road. Two, a car overturns due to high speed. Three, a bicycle collides with a parked car. Four, a truck crashes into the traffic island. So letter A, 1 and 3 only. Letter B, 2 and 4 only. Letter C, 1, 3 and 4 only. Or Delta, 1, 2, 3 and 4 are collision on road. Ayan. So ano ba yung collision on road? Basta nagkaroon ng impact between one body to another ay considered as collision. So anong kasama sa collision on road dyan? Yun yung 1, 3, and 4 only. No? So nung nakaraan, ang tinanong naman, which of the following is not considered as collision? Okay? So ang title kasi nito, nasa TOS yan. Ano? Classification of Motor Vehicle Traffic Accident according sa key event. So meron po tayong tatlong klase ng motor vehicle traffic accident according to key event. To. So when we say running off-road, yung sasakyan umalis doon sa may traffic way. So yan yung mga tumalon sa bangin, gano'n. So it is usually characterized by a motor vehicle falling on the roadside or on a cliff. Oh. So kaya nga umalis doon sa may roadway actually. Ibig sabihin, umalis siya, gumilid na hulog. Ganun. So yan yung running off-road. Kaya pag sinabi nilang running off-road, ibig sabihin, tumalon sa bangin yung sasakyan, o kaya nahulog doon sa gilid ng kalsada. Ganun. So that is running off-road. Okay? Then, non-collision on road, meaning walang impact na nangyari. This does not involve any collision. An example is overturning. So yung mismo na nandun sa may isang number, no, ay nandyan, no? Yung overturning, non-collision po yun. Yung nagkaroon ng drift, ganon, or umikot-ikot, that is non-collision. Di naman bumangga eh. So ang pinakamaraming klase ng aksidente ay itong tinatawag na collision on road, no, or collision on the roadway. So all form of accident, as long as there is a collision, there is an impact between one traffic unit to other traffic unit. So any motor vehicle may collide to any of the following: a pedestrian, so sasakyan na bumangga sa pedestrian na naglalakad, tumatakbo, or nakatayo sa roadway, or a motor vehicle that collided to other motor vehicles in traffic, maybe head-on. Ayan yung sabi natin na bumper to bumper, head-on, yun yung magkasalubong. Yeah. Head and rear, ayan yun yung sumusunod, binangga na lang yung nasa harapan niya. Side opposite direction or side impact, side same direction, yan yung parehas yung patungo pero doon sa kalsada na merging lanes, no? Same direction, side same direction yan. Head and side collision or side impact pa rin. Then, pwede ring sasakyan na bumangga sa mga nakaparadang sasakyan, no? May be similar to moving vehicle, pwedeng head-on, however, one parked anywhere on the roadway. Pwede ring sasakyan, so railroad train is this type of collision usually occurs along with railroads crossing. And we have also a motor vehicle to a bicycle. In this form of collision, it is either motor vehicle or bicyclists who initiated the collision. Pwede rin naman nasasakyan sa mga fixed object tulad po ng traffic island, pedestrian barrier, electrical post, ano pa, yung traffic island, pwedeng channelizing island, rotary island, you know. Then pwede rin yung sasakyan to other objects like streetcars, ice cream vendor, and so on. So basta may impact, mga kaibigan, one body or one traffic unit hits another traffic unit, that is considered as collision on roads. So generally, we have three types of accident according to key event. No? Running off-road, non-collision, and collision. So lahat ng may impact, collision. Pag umalis sa kalsada yung sasakyan, running off-road. Pagka nag-drift-drift yan, biglang bilis ng takbo, tapos tabingi yung preno mo, nung nagpreno ka, umikot-ikot, yan po ay non-collision on road. Next question. A blinking red light means letter A, go, letter B, stop, letter C, proceed with caution, and delta, stop and proceed with caution. So ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng blinking red light? That is stop and proceed with caution. Okay, in the latest word question, ito po yung tanong naman. When approaching an intersection with yellow traffic light, what is the safest course of action to do? So letter A, speed up. Letter B, slow down. Letter C, prepare to stop. And delta, come to full stop. So ano ba ang sagot dyan? That is prepare to stop kasi yun ang ibig sabihin ng yellow. Diba? Kaya pag yellow na, do not beat the yellow light because it already means that you need to prepare stop. Pagdating mo sa stop line, you need to stop. Yan. So ibig sabihin, mag-slow down ka na nun. So you need to prepare for stopping na. So ano ang arrangement of traffic light from top to bottom? Yan po ay may acronym po na RAG, that is red, amber, and green. O kung walang red, amber, yan po ay yellow. No, hindi po yan orange. So the arrangement of traffic light from top to bottom is red, amber, or green. O kaya kapag ka bottom to top, green, amber, and red. No? So bakit red yung nasa taas? Kasi yan ay nakapattern lang po doon po sa lakas ng mga ilaw, ano? At ang ilaw, pagka ang white light tumama sa prism, di ba? Yan po yung pagkakasunod-sunod, yung Roy G. Biv na tinatawag ninyo. Roy G. Biv. Ayan. So kinuha lang po yung tatlong malalakas sa unahan, yung red, yellow, at saka green, or yung in between yellow or orange, yan yung amber, tsaka yung green. That is arrangement of traffic light from top to bottom. And the strongest light, of course, is red light. At ang ibig sabihin niyan, syempre, danger. Kaya pagka namumula, do not enter. Stop because it is danger. Pagka yellow or amber, prepare to stop. Green means go. Alright? So, ito naman po yung mga tinatawag natin na pavement markings and markers, mga kaibigan. Kapag nakikita niyo po yung dilaw na box sa gitna, ang tawag po natin dyan sa pavement markings na yan ay tinatawag po siyang box junction. Ang ibig sabihin po ng box junction, you cannot proceed until the exit is clear. So, ibig sabihin, kapag itong mga sasakyan na yan, hindi po sila pwedeng umabante kung yung pupuntahan nila ay may sasakyan pa na nakalagay dito. So they can only proceed if it is already clear yung kanilang pupuntahan. Kasi kapag ka po nakaharang yung sasakyan, na kunwari nag-stop na yung light tapos nakaharang yung sasakyan, may kaso na yon, that is already obstruction mga kaibigan, no? Ayan, yun yung box junction. Ang purpose ng box junction is to prevent what we call as gridlock. Para walang mag-lock doon sa intersection, no? Ang tawag naman po dito sa mga arrow na yan, ang tawag dyan directional arrows. Okay, so ipinapakita dyan na kung saan ka dapat pumwesto, no? Depende kung saan ka pupunta. So like for example, itong area na yan, dapat andyan ka na before yung intersection. Kapag ka ikaw ay pupunta sa or pupunta pa straight lang, no? Pero kapag ka ikaw ay pupunta sa left side mo, dapat nandun ka na sa gilid na area. So ibig sabihin ito, pwedeng straight, pwedeng papunta sa left. Ito naman, pwedeng straight, pwedeng papunta sa right. Ang tawag dyan, directional arrows, mga kaibigan. Ito naman, itong pintura na puti na yan na nakikita natin bago yung object, ang tawag po natin dyan ay yan yung tinatawag po ninyo na barrel lines, no? So barrel lines, half inch ang tangkad po niyan. At pagka po dumaan yung gulong ng sasakyan, ay magigising ka talaga kasi nga ay malapit ka nang bumangga sa object, no? So barrel lines ang tawag. Pero kapag ka po nakita natin diyan sa may sa gilid ng or sa may kalsada at ito ay horizontal, no? Horizontal na makikita ninyo sa may kalsada, ang tawag natin diyan ay rumble strips markings. All right? So kapag ito po yung kalsada po natin, then sa gitna, syempre, meron kayong, ayan, so andyan yung dotted line, ibig sabihin pwedeng mag-overtake. Ang tawag po natin sa nasa gitna, yan yung tinatawag po ninyo na center lines. Okay, center lines. Center line or lines. No? Ito namang nasa gilid po na yan, ang tawag dyan ay curb line. Curb line. Ayan, okay, curb lines. Okay, ngayon kapag meron po kayong makikitang pintura which is painted horizontally along a roadway and ito ay may half inch na tangkad, ayan, or taas or yung height niyan, ang tawag dito ay rumble strips markings. Okay? So ang ibig sabihin niyan, you are approaching an accident prone area. Rumble strips markings. Strips markings ang tawag natin. Okay, so rumble strips markings. Yan. So na ibig sabihin you are approaching an accident prone area kasi baka malapit ka na sa crosswalk. Yan. So syempre dahan-dahan lang. So ang tawag naman dito pagka parallel to the highway, yan, kung saan nagko-cross yung mga tao, ang tawag diyan ay crosswalk. Okay, cross walk. It is used to cross the road. Isang klase ng pedestrian lane yan. Pagka po naman ginagamit din para mag-cross sa kalsada pero dalawang horizontal line lang po. Okay, ang tawag naman natin dito ay crossover. Yan, crossover. Lalo na pagka yung maramihan yung pagtawid ng mga tao kasi malapit sa eskwelahan, gano'n. Okay, anong tawag naman dito kung saan kayo mag-i-stop ay stop line. Ayan, stop line. Okay? Ngayon, yung nasa gilid na daanan ng tao, mga kaibigan, ang tawag natin dyan ay sidewalk. Sidewalk. Okay, sidewalk naman. Pagka yung mukhang sidewalk nasa gitna ng kalsada, lalo na pag yung maluluwang na kalsada, nakaangat konti yan, ang tawag natin dyan, refuge island. Kasi kapag ka po nag-red yung light para sa special traffic light for people, okay, dyan ka muna magsisecure ng refuge para hindi ka matagis. Yung tawag dyan, refuge island. No? Ngayon, lahat ng mga para sa tao tulad ng crossover, crosswalk, refuge island, sidewalk, footbridge or yung pedestrian overpass na tinatawag natin, lahat yon ay under ng tinatawag na pedestrian lanes. Okay? Pedestrian lanes. Ay po yan ha, pedestrian lanes. So lahat ng para sa mga naglalakad, para sa mga tao, pedestrian lanes ang tawag nyo. So ano yung number one na klase ng pedestrian lane? Crosswalk. Crosswalk is used to cross the road. We have also crossover. We have also rumble strips marking. We have also sidewalk. We have also refuge island. We have also ano pa? Yung tinatawag natin na footbridge or pedestrian overpass. All right? So yan po mga kaibigan yung ilan sa mga pintura. Kapag ka naman yung mismong object, yung may pintura like humps, yan, for example, may humps dyan, tapos may pintura na black and yellow, ang tawag natin dyan ay object markings. So yan. So, object markings. So, yung mga bato ganyan, object markings, yellow and black naman po yan. Humps, ganon, object markings. So, ang tawag natin dyan ay, yan yung mga tinatawag na pavement markings. Okay? Yung nilalagay naman sa gitna ng kalsada na kung saan nagre-reflect ng ilaw pag tinamaan naman ng ilaw ng inyong sasakyan, ang tawag naman po natin dyan ay retroreflectorized road markings or yan ang tinatawag na cat's eye. Okay? So yan yung tinatawag na cat's eye. Parang yung mata ng pusa pag nailawan, it will reflect back the light. No? Cat's eye or retroreflectorized road markings. Alright? So yan po yung ilan sa mga pavement markings and markers mga kaibigan. So let's proceed to the next question. What is the Land Transportation Code of the Philippines? Letter A, RA number 8750. Letter B, RA 4136. Letter C is RA 10913 or yung ADA law. And Delta is RA 10666. The answer for this question is RA 4136. So yung RA 8750, that is the seatbelt use act of 1999 na dapat ay meron pong seatbelt yung mga sasakyan na four wheels. Wag naman motorsiklo kasi pangit naman tingnan na meron kang seatbelt na nakamotor. No? RA 10913 is the ADA law or Anti-Distracted Driving Act, and RA 10666, that is an act providing for safety of children aboard motorcycle or yung tinatawag na Children's Safety Act of 2015 na kung saan ay pinagbabawal ang pag-aangkas ng bata sa motorsiklo. Alright? Okay, so in the previous board question, ito po yung isa sa question, which circumstance should the use of mobile communication or computing device is not considered to be distraction in driving under the ADA law or Anti-Distracted Driving Act. So anong batas ulit yan? Yung Republic Act number 10913. So ito yung example na question. So makikita natin talagang sinusunod nung gumagawa ng questions yung TOS. Di ba? So ito yun, nasa TOS mismo to yung ADA law na yan, RA 10913. No? So letter A, when reading text or communication. Letter B, done with the aid of hands-free device. Letter C, when answering call inside using left hand only. Or Delta, when actively surfing and browsing the internet. So ang exemption or hindi considered as distraction under ADA law is Bravo, when the communication device is used with the aid of hands-free device. Basta hindi po madidistract yung mata at saka yung kamay na nagdadrive, ayan, pwede na gumamit ng communication or computing devices. All right? So, under the provision of RA 10913, Section 5, ano po ang sinasabi dito mga kaibigan, no? So under this law, no, the operation of mobile communication device is not considered as distracted driving if done with the aid of hands-free function, or similar device. So dyan mismo kinuha actually yung question na yan. But not limited to speakerphone, earphone, microphone, or other similar device which allow a person to make, receive calls without having to hold a mobile communication device, provided that the placement of mobile communication device or hands-free device that does not interfere with the line of sight of the driver. So, wag naman dapat nag-i-interfere. Baka mamaya nandun sa mismong harapan, pwedeng maka-interfere po yan doon sa driver, mga kaibigan, no? So, wheeled, agricultural machineries, yung mga dumadaan ng kalsada na nag-ooperate ng tractor, construction equipment such as grader, rollers, backhoes, payloaders, cranes, bulldozers, mobile concrete mixers, and the like, and other form of conveyances such as bicycle, pedicabs, habal-habal, trolley, kuliglig, wagon, carriage, ay applicable din sa kanila itong batas na ito kung ito ay ino-operate in a public thoroughfares like highways or street or under circumstance which public safety is under consideration. No, tandaan ha, applicable. Pero ito yung isang tanong na pumapasok sa isip ko, ano? Kapag nagmamaneho ng pedicab, di ba? At saka yung bicycle, bisikleta, kung walang lisensya, anong gagawin? Huhuliin, impound, ganon, di ba? So, anong huhuliin kung walang driver's license? Kung four wheels, syempre may lisensya yan, pwedeng huliin, may plaka. Kung bisikleta, di impound na yon. Di ba? Pedicab, ganon, di impound. Naku naman, no? Yan. So, parang masyadong idealistic yung batas, pero parang sa implementation, medyo alanganin yata, no? Pero yun nga, yun ang pinaka best possible na pwedeng gawin para bayaran yung penalty. Nung kung bicycle yan, alangan huhuliin mo, license, di ba? Hindi naman po kailangan ng license if you are driving or if you will use a bicycle. Di ba? So the provision of this act shall not apply to motorists or motor vehicles not in motion. So kapag nakatigil naman, nasa gilid ka, patay ang makina, abay syempre, hindi ka kasama dyan, no? Nor hindi kasama, basta not in motion yan. No? Kaya umaandar man, pero ikaw ay nasa gilid. Dahil nag-aircon ka lang, kaya umaandar, no? Except those who are stopped momentarily lang doon sa red light. So kapag ka naka-red light, di pwede pa rin mag-cellphone, mga kaibigan. Exemptions, no? So, lahat naman or halos lahat ng batas may exemption to the rule. The provision of this act shall not apply to motorists using mobile phone for emergency purposes, including but not limited to an emergency call to a law enforcement agency. O baka mamaya kasi sabihin pa nung hinuli nyo, ba't ikaw? Hinuli mo ako, anti-distracted driving app, ba't ikaw? Nakita ko may katawagan ka using your radio. O, di ba? Take note, exempted yung mga law enforcement agencies, healthcare provider, fire department, and other emergency services agency or entity. And of course, a motorist using mobile phone while operating an emergency vehicle tulad ng ambulance, fire truck, and other vehicles providing emergency assistance in the course or scope of their duties. Alright, so hanggang dito na lamang yung pong ating video presentation na ito, mga kaibigan. Ating ipagpapatuloy po ito doon sa ating susunod na video presentation. At maraming salamat sa inyong walang kawang pakikinig. Ito muli ang inyong criminologist with the pornographic memory, Sammy Bingwasan Estoque. I hope na ipagpatuloy po ninyo ang inyong kalibugan sa pag-aaral in English. Please continue your burning desire to learn for you to top the board examination. Thank you very much. Good day and mabuhay po kayong lahat.